James Michener once described Hawaii as an island weathered by the sea. Stupendous cliffs that caught the sun and glowed like serrated pillars of gold. Valleys and sweet plains. Waterfalls and rivers. Nothing that ever existed on this island reached it easily. In violence Hawaii lived, and in violence a great beauty was born. It is this violence that takes back some of what is brought to its shores, as we'll see here on the island of Kauai. Enter treasure hunter Dutch Medford and his wife Pam.
We heard several different people crying and stories of people that had lost their jewelry on the beach and out in the water with no way to recover it. I've been treasure hunting since I was 8 years old. I found my first treasure on our farm and ranch in Texas when I was digging a post hole. I actually dug down and found a 1-gallon mason jar filled with silver dollars, and I have been a die-hard treasure hunter ever since.
The unexpected is part of the intrigue for the Medfords. The surprises surrounding each day's search is what brings Dutch eagerly back to the water. Most of the time, the hunt turns up the typical: a bracelet, some coins, and every now and again a watch. But on one occasion, it led to the discovery of an heirloom of one of America's oldest and most famous families, the Roosevelts.
So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Our 32nd president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, was elected to 4 terms and led the U.S. out of the Great Depression and through World War II. No American president had a more patrician background than FDR. His mother's family claimed they could trace the Roosevelt genealogy back to the 11th century and William the Conqueror, and between them, the Delanos and the Roosevelts claimed no less than 12 Mayflower ancestors. FDR's grandson, Del Roosevelt, a Long Beach city councilman, recalls his family genealogy.
The Roosevelt family came from Holland. And Roosevelt actually used to be Van Rosenvelt, V-E-L-D-T, or literal translation would be Field of Roses. Hence, on the crest itself, there are 3 roses, because that's what we did for a living in Holland, was raise roses.
From this proud family heritage, a tradition was born. Centuries ago, a ring was forged and passed from father to son for generations.
The ring goes as far back to Holland, because the Roosevelt family came from Holland. It came over when the 2 brothers came over from Holland and settled in Manhattan and New York in the late 1600s, and the ring came over with them. And the ring, the face of it is bloodstone. The tradition is that the ring goes from the oldest son to the oldest son to the oldest son.
Following tradition, the ring was ultimately passed to FDR. He wore it constantly, proudly displaying his family's crest.
Home and abroad, the production of coal.
And when he died in 1945, the tradition of passing the ring continued.
So, as it came down through the family, my father, James Roosevelt, who was Franklin and Eleanor's oldest son, got the ring when FDR passed away.
It's here where the story gets interesting. Having been married more than once and having first sons in each family, James Roosevelt brought an age-old rite of passage into the 20th century. He had another ring made so the tradition would continue with his second family as well.
Dad, I guess, felt that it would be nice for us to have a ring with the family crest on it from him, so there weren't any hurt feelings or anything like that. So he had a ring made for me with the family crest on it and had it inscribed to HDR from JR, Love and Trust, and the date of the year.
This treasured gift never leaves Del's finger, and when his family traveled to Hawaii in 1990, he of course was wearing the precious ring.
Well, we were there for Thanksgiving vacation. There were some friends of ours that have a home over in Hanalei Bay on Kauai, which is the North Shore. And we decided to go to the opposite side of the island, over to Brenicke's Beach, because I love to body surf. So we went over there, and about maybe 20 yards off the beach, there's a sandbar and a small channel that you'd have to walk through. For me, it was way steep. my wife, it was about chest high. So we decided to wade over there, just because it's there.
And they tried walking across this area, but unknown to them, when that sandbar is gone, there's between a 6 and 9 knot current that runs through that area. It's only 4.5 feet deep water, but it can carry you out about 60 yards if you're not used to it. The locals here, we call it the freight train because we ride through from one side to the other. It's kind of a free ride. But the Roosevelts tried to walk across this area to go out to the island. Jan lost her footing and was being carried out by the current.
A surge of water came through, and she reached out as she was starting to float away. And I reached out to her, and she reached out to me, and when we grabbed each other's hands, she started to pull away, and as she did, the ring came off, and down it went. And all I could see was this glitter going down into this really silty sand.
Del reacted immediately. He frantically searched the sandy bottom for the lost ring.
I start diving after it, and then I went up and borrowed some kid's mask and started to swim out there for about a half an hour or so. And as I was looking around, I was completely frustrated and quite upset. And I see this guy floating in the water with an underwater metal detector.
But as soon as I lifted my head out of the water, I saw the look on his face, and I knew it was not just a curious question. I knew this man had lost something. And I really didn't realize what he had lost or how valuable the loss was until after he had told me. He asked me if I could find rings in the water, and I told him yes. He said he had lost his large signet ring, and he pointed to an area just behind me and asked me if I would please search for the ring, and I said yes, I'd be glad to.
Fighting the heavy current was exhausting, and after an hour of scanning the bottom, Dutch Medford was forced to give up.
When I came out of the water, I took his name, his address, and his telephone number, and the description of the ring. I told him that if I found the ring, I'd surely make sure that he got it back. And I really believe that when he walked away that day, that he truly thought that he would never see that ring again.
Frustrated and disappointed, Del Roosevelt gave up the search and left Kauai the next day. And as promised, Dutch Medford kept an eye out for the Roosevelt signet ring.
I searched for that ring from that time 2 days a week for an average of 4 hours a day until April 1st.
With the coming of April and spring-like conditions, the tides began to change, and so did the momentum of Dutch's search.
We'd had about 6-foot waves came in and had wiped out a large amount of the sand that was on the south side of Kauai Bay. And some of the rocks was exposed that hadn't been exposed for a while. There's usually about 3 to 5 feet of sand over this area at that time. When I went in the water, I found a large rock that we have named the grinding stone because it looks like an Indian corn grinding stone. And it looked like about the same area that Dale had told me that he had lost the ring. So I thought to myself, it might be a possibility that we could find it today. I went in and did a complete search around that rock, and on the back side of it, I got a very faint signal. I fanned the sand away with my hands, and the signal was louder. So I fanned the sand again, and suddenly there was this wide gold band sticking out of the water. I got so excited. I thought maybe after all these months of searching, is this the Roosevelt ring? And I got so excited, I came completely out of the water. I said, all right, real loud. And I suddenly had about 8 people standing around me reaching for the ring. But I got to tell you, it never left my hands. But I was so excited, I didn't want to do any more treasure hunting that day. I came out of the water, went home, and immediately called the Roosevelts. Hi, Dale, how you doing?
Dutch relayed the story of finding the ring and asked Del a few questions, verifying he in fact had the right one.
He says, on that family crest of yours, you have 3 roses at the top? And I just about fell out of my chair. And sure enough, he had the ring, and he sent it to me, and I felt like getting on a plane and going over and giving him a big hug and kiss.
Dutchy called me at work and told me he'd found something really exciting, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. He wanted to wait until I got home so he could show me. I couldn't wait to get home, and when I walked in the door, he dropped this huge ring in my hand, and it was the Roosevelt ring.
I mean, if it were me, I'd probably keep keep the stuff I find because it's, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. This guy returns everything. It's unbelievable. I mean, he literally returns anything, and he goes to great length to try and find people, and he finds people. It's amazing.
That's actually the fun part of treasure hunting, is the fact of being able to return these lost items to these people that really believe that they will never see them again, especially those that are lost in the ocean. And this is the fun part, being able to return this to them. And it's great because the look on the people's faces is just absolutely priceless.
Dutch is that rare individual who will sacrifice personal gain for a total stranger's peace of mind. And he never accepts rewards or payments from anyone.
My ring, I have two little boys, 4.5 and 6 years old. My oldest son's name is James, and it'll go to him at some point in time. And I'll probably do the same for Hall, Delano Roosevelt II, which is my youngest son.
Because of the selfless dedication of treasure hunter Dutch Medford, the Roosevelt family tradition will most certainly continue for generations to come.